everybody. What's up?
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. Welcome back.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Hey, everybody. It's another week, finally, with Case Files with Kat.
And Ashley.
Oh my God. Can you believe it?
No.
It's been like, it's been 84 years. So what's new?
Everything. We're drinking wine. We're classy now.
We're drinking wine, and you know, a lot's happened. I feel like we've grown up.
I feel
we're
like
adults.
a whole episode could just be on things that have happened since we last recorded in April or May or whenever the hell that was.
April, yeah, starting in April, May, June. There were surgeries involved.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah.
But I have like 2 new hips.
I was gone for like 3 weeks.
You were gone for a long time. Yeah, man. That was a dark time on this end, but it was a good time for you, right?
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
It was so good. It was much needed.
I'm so glad. No, just kidding.
Wow.
As I like chug my wine. No, it was fine. It was a great time. So I'm still doing PT.
Yeah.
And I still can't make it up the stairs, but maybe next week.
Maybe
Next week.
Maybe
I think.
by the time this comes out.
I feel like I've definitely gotten stronger, but
Yeah.
man, the road here, and I didn't get hip replacements. It was just the fixing of the labrum and the shaving of the bone down and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't get brand new hips, but it feels like I did.
Yeah.
It feels like it to me.
Yeah.
Like new hips for me. So I'm excited. It's weird to not have pain that I've had for decades. It's
Yeah, well,
weird.
that's good though. Well, I haven't had surgery. I've just been
Lucky.
watching true crimes, and I downloaded. Okay,
I've watched a lot of true crimes.
I've downloaded the Crime Radar app that has this area, but you can change it to any area, and I like obsessively look at it because like I want to know what's happening, but at the same time I'm like, fuck, there is so much shit I wish I hadn't known about this area. But yeah, so I'm always on that.
Would you tell me like, hey, by the way,
your neighbor was just on the Crime Radar
Right.
40 minutes ago.
just
Are you
wanna know.
alive?
I really want to know what happened across the street some weeks ago where we were like, oh.
So unfortunately, you can't filter by like types of crime or like date, but it what it does is you put in an area and it shows you like, was it medical, was it an emergency, and then it gives you the transcript of the call. It blanks out names, addresses, but it will show you on a map where it was or whatever. Anyways,
suggest not.
I don't.
If I want to sleep tonight.
If you feel bad when you watch fictional characters in movies die or whatever, I wouldn't suggest looking at it because it's a lot of negativity. But I just, for whatever reason, it's like a train wreck for me. I look at the app all day long. I was at a concert on Friday and something happened and I immediately just like looked.
You're like, that's
what's happening? Like, it's none of my business, but what's happening? Worst day of this person's life. Let me see why they're being arrested.
Hopefully it was for something bad and not something
they passed out
stupid.
of dehydration or something.
Oh, poor thing.
It was like medical. So that's all I have been up to.
Well,
I live a fascinating life.
you do. Wow. I did watch a lot. I watched a lot of true crime. So get ready, y'all. We got some episodes.
Yes, we've got some good stories.
I found a new cult. It's not a new cult, but I found a cult that I'm new to me, and just kind of in line with like keeping my kids safe and you know, that sort of thing. And then I watched a lot of K-dramas, a whole lot. I had a lot of time on my hands.
I bet. And
I didn't want to talk on the phone, and I didn't want to text people. I was just like, let me finish Netflix. So, that's what and HBO and Apple TV and Hulu and Peacock. And I was just going through.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that today. Let me go to the next one. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot. Anyway, I have an update for this episode today.
Okay.
So you remember my big two-parter about the Long Island serial killer, the Gilgo Beach killer?
Yes.
So we have updates, people. As recent as 2 weeks ago, and then actually as recent as 2 days ago, we have an update. So here we go.
All right.
We're going to talk about this. So we're going back to Long Island, and I know we already did 2 episodes on this bastard, but he was known as the Long Island serial killer, Gilgo Beach killer, and it made me question every single quiet neighbor interview ever given on the local news, because this dude was like, he was quiet. He kept to himself. He had a family. He brought in my trash cans one time. You know, like that sort of neighbor. He was that guy. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, prosecutors say this man was using burner phones and hunting women, keeping detailed planning documents, searching his own case online, and allegedly turning his family home, even the home he grew up in, into a crime scene while his wife and kids were out of town. So yes, we are back. And if you have not listened to our first 2 episodes on this case, I would really recommend going back and listening to those first, because this is an update episode. I'm not going to retell every single detail from the beginning because, well, honestly, we would be here.
For those who are wondering, it was season 7, episode 2 and 3.
Oh, thank you.
Back in August of, that can't be right, 24? Oh my gosh, it's been that long.
It's been that long.
Anyways, August 21st and 29th, episode 2 and 3 from season 7.
Yep. So, yeah, we would be here all night, and I don't have that kind of vocal stamina anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't. But I'm going to give you a recap because this case is complicated. It has been unfolding for years. There are multiple victims, multiple crime scenes, multiple jurisdictions, multiple law enforcement failures. And I think you can all remember, if you've listened to that, I talked a lot about that. And now finally, an actual guilty plea. Yay! That is why this is just an update. So Rex Heuermann, the Massapequa Park architect, that's, to look at that, I had to really learn that pronunciation a long time ago. Rex Heuermann, the Massapequa Park architect, who was arrested in July of 2023 and charged in connection with the Gilgo Beach murders, has now pleaded guilty. Not to just one murder, not just to the Gilgo 4. He pleaded guilty to the murders of 7 women he had been charged with killing, and he also admitted to killing an 8th woman.
Did they find the 8th woman, or did he just admit to it?
He admitted to it, but he wasn't charged with it. So the man who once sat in court looking like he was just mildly inconvenienced by all of this has now admitted in court that he is indeed the Long Island serial killer. And I don't say that lightly. For years, families were told to wait. They were told the investigation was ongoing. They were told there was no arrest. They were told there were no answers. They were told their daughters, sisters, mothers, and loved ones were just a part of this really big mystery, and they didn't have any information. But now there is a plea. But as usual with this case, the plea doesn't answer every question.
Yeah.
Really, because we talked about a lot of people and a lot of potential victims, right? So in fact, in some ways, it raises more questions, because now we're looking at a timeline that stretches from at least 1993 to 2010, and that's 17 years. 17 years.
Yeah.
That's not a bad weekend.
Now, was 2010 when he said he stopped, or when they said he stopped?
When they said he stopped.
Oh, okay.
Well,
but there's no proof that he...
Right.
Okay.
This is where proof.
But that's just
right.
proved. Okay, got it. So he could have just...
Right.
Okay.
So that's not like I said, like, this is not a bad weekend. This is not a rough chapter. That's a whole adult life.
Yeah.
He had children. That's enough time for babies to be born and graduate high school. That's enough time for an entire generation to grow up while this man was allegedly living a totally normal looking suburban life. He had a wife, he had kids, he had a career, he had clients. he had a coworker who got sick, and he took home and took care of her, and then, you know, like, didn't kill, like, you know, like, it must be so hard for people to really wrap their minds around, like, this man who was maybe a big ogre-ish looking dude, but they would have never had said this guy has the potential of being a serial killer. He had a commute, you know, he had a house. Well, he had a house that looked like it was being held together by a hope and a prayer, a brave 2x4, you know, like it was just, it looked like it needed help. And he was an architect.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw
For some reason in my head, I thought he lived in like a really fancy neighborhood.
He did.
Oh, okay.
But his house...
Okay, got it.
That was his family. He was born in that house. Like that was the house he grew up in. I don't think he updated anything on that house forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked dilapidated, and all the houses around it were nice.
Yeah. I guess that's why, I just remember you talking about the neighborhood and stuff.
Yeah, everybody was like, clean the trash in your yard, dude. You know, like, it just looked a mess.
Yeah.
I don't know how people weren't like, what's going on? You know, I don't know. They didn't have an HOA, I guess. So, according to prosecutors, he didn't just have all of that. He also had victims. And he had a lot of them. So tonight we're going to talk about what has happened since our last episodes. And we're going to talk about the guilty plea, what he admitted in court, and the Peacock documentary called The House of Secrets, Gilgo Beach Killer, House of Secrets, and the allegations that he told his ex-wife where many of the murders happened. And we're going to just talk about the biggest question that is still sitting there like a cursed little goblin in the corner where there are more victims.
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, there has to be. Spoiler alert, there's got to be.
Yeah. It would be weird for him to just suddenly decide to quit in 2010.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. 100%. So let's get into it. Okay, so how do we get here? So let's first recap. And when I say fast, I mean fast for me, which means Ashley's probably already looking at me like that is not what that word means because you don't know how to do that. Okay, so the public story of the Gilgo Beach case really begins with Shannon Gilbert. Shannon was a 23-year-old. She was an escort working in New York City, and in the early morning hours of May 1st, 2010, she was at a client's home in Oak Beach on Long Island. Then something happened. We still don't know exactly what, but Shannon called 911, stayed on the phone for more than 20 minutes saying things like, "They're trying to kill me." And you could hear men in the background. Do you remember this?
Yes, this part is why I remembered the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. You could hear men in the background. One was believed to be her driver, Michael Pack, and one was believed to be the client, Joseph Brewer. She ran from the house. She knocked on neighbors' doors. The neighbors called 911 too, and then Shannon disappeared. Police did not find her that night. Her family...
The neighbors refused to open the door, right? These are the neighbors that wouldn't open?
Uh-huh. But another one did. And okay. Yeah. But then she ran.
Yeah.
Her family, especially her mother, Mary Gilbert, fought like hell to get people to take her disappearance seriously. And while authorities were searching for Shannon, they found someone else. On December 11th, 2010, along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach, police found the remains of a woman, but it wasn't Shannon. Those remains turned out to be those of Melissa Bartholomew. Then, 2 days later, not too far away, they found 3 more women nearby. And they were Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. These 4 women became known as the Gilgo Four. They were all young women. They were all involved in sex work. They had all been contacted through phone activity connected to burner phones. I think that's amazing that they can tell that. I guess it's like it's a number that doesn't belong to a plan, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and back then burner phones were like really popular. Like I remember just buying like disposable, like when I
like if you didn't have a lot of money.
When I was in college and I just didn't want to like have the money to be on a plan, I just
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like back then, it was a big thing. I feel like, anyways.
I guess more. Yeah, more so. It was a convenience.
It's not like a thing really now. I don't think. I think you have like.
I think it is, but it's like.
It's not as tracked.
Yeah.
Like now I'm pretty sure you have to give your name and all of that. And before you could just walk into a store and buy one.
Oh, I wonder
throw a
what
SIM
it's
card
like
in
now.
it.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like now. Yeah, I don't know. So, their bodies were found along the same remote stretch of Ocean Parkway. And at that point, investigators knew that they were not just looking for Shannon anymore. They were looking for a serial killer. And then it got to be even more complicated. In 2011, more remains were found. Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, an unidentified toddler, an unidentified Asian victim who may have been trans or gender nonconforming, Karen Vergata, a woman known for years only as Peaches because of the tattoo found on her body. And then, finally, in December of 2011, Shannon Gilbert's remains were found in the marsh. Police have long said that Shannon's death was likely accidental, not a homicide connected to the serial killer. Her family has disputed that. Fucking, I dispute that shit. I think she was naked. Like, no.
How do you find all of these other bodies and then just say this one?
It wasn't along the side. She ran.
Yeah.
So it just happened to be in the same area. I don't know. The circumstances are so unsettling. Honestly, I don't think the public will ever stop asking questions about it. Like, I don't think you can just say it was an accident. Honestly, she was running for her life.
Yeah.
Why would... That's not accidental.
Yeah.
To me, it isn't.
Knocking on doors, begging for help. Like,
exactly.
And then just happens to die.
Exactly. I just feel like the word accidental might be not the right word. I don't know. But the discovery of Shannon's disappearance is what led to the discovery of the Gilgo 4, right? So that was Shannon's mom was like, Mary was like out there in the front lines.
Yeah.
Like she was the one waving the flag, pay attention to these stories, pay attention. And she, every time they found a body, she was there hoping it was going to be Shannon. Like she wanted something.
Yeah.
But she was there every single time. And even though it wasn't her daughter, she was still there. And then the case just sat for years. And when I say sat, I mean sat.
Yeah.
In the most infuriating way possible. And I talked about that. Because there were tips, there were witness statements, there was the Chevy fucking avalanche that someone said they saw, there were the burner phones, there were the cell tower locations, there was the man that Amber Costello's roommate, do you remember this, said he drove a dark green Chevy Avalanche and looked like an ogre.
Yeah.
That was all there, and yet no arrest for more than a decade. And remember from the first episodes, this is also where we talked about the massive issues with Suffolk County law enforcement at the time, including former Suffolk County Police Chief James Burke. Yeah. Do you remember this story?
Yes.
Burke blocked the FBI from participating in the investigation because, God forbid, they find anything, and then later went to federal prison in an unrelated case after assaulting this poor dude who stole a bag. And do you remember what he found in the bag?
I don't remember what he found, but...
It was like porn, like snuff porn, and like dildos and drugs and money.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And,
yeah.
right?
You know what? I do remember that now.
And he was like, what the fuck? Like, just...
Yeah.
Not what you're supposed to find in the police chief's car. And then they came and like beat him up and... Right? Do you remember that?
I always felt like he had some, like he was in on it because like...
Right? Why keep the FBI?
Yeah, like he worked really hard too.
Really hard to keep people from not investigating the story, right? Like 100%. Honestly, it feels like what I just said was like a fever dream. Like it doesn't even make sense. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fever dream. Like it doesn't even make sense. Anyway, so for years, there was this cloud of corruption in Suffolk County, right? Incompetence, distrust hanging over everything because nothing was being done. And then In 2022, a new task force was created. And within weeks, 6 weeks, investigators started looking hard at a man named Rex Heuermann. So Rex Heuermann was an architect. He lived in Massapequa Park, Long Island. He worked in Midtown Manhattan. He was big. He was tall. He was awkward. And according to some people who dealt with him, intense and creepy. He also once owned a first-generation Chevy Avalanche. And that mattered because Amber Costello's roommate had told the police way back in 2010 that the man who came around before Amber disappeared drove the dark-colored Chevy Avalanche. Investigators connected that vehicle to Rex Heuermann. So what they did is they were like, hey, who owns a dark green Chevy Avalanche on Long Island? And then they were like, okay, who of those people also would be in Midtown Manhattan every day? Okay.
Crazy that this couldn't happen the first time around.
I mean,
seems so simple.
So they connected the vehicle to Rex. Then they connected the burner phone activity to areas around his home and around his office. Then they connected him through DNA evidence, including DNA from discarded items like pizza crust.
Oh, I remember that.
and then on, which is like the most New York
because they
thing.
followed him for a while, right?
Yes.
To get this pizza crust.
Yes. And then on July 13th, 2023, Rex Heuermann was arrested. I feel like I can't say his name. It's like,
yeah.
It's like evil. At first, he was charged with the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Then, in January 2024, he was charged with the murder of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. So now the Gilgo Four were all tied to him by the charges. But then prosecutors went further. In June of 2024, Heuermann was charged with the murders of Jessica Taylor and Sandra Costilla. And that changed everything because suddenly the timeline went way back. Sandra Costilla was killed in 1993. This is the one that was not killed in the house. Killed her in the truck.
Oh, wow.
Jessica Taylor was killed in 2003. That meant investigators were no longer looking at a possible killing period of 2007 to 2010. They were looking at 1993 to 2010. There's no way it was just those.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Even if he stopped at 2010, which I don't believe.
Well,
because normally they only stop, right? Like when
well, there was heat. That's when the heat started.
Okay,
You know, like people were searching that beach all the time. It was like,
Excuse me.
know, all of the investigators, all of the podcasters, whatever. Yeah. So, and now in 2026, Rex Heuermann has pleaded guilty. So by 2022, the case had been cold for years. Then Suffolk County created the Gilgo Beach Homicide Investigation Task Force. That's very long. And the new team included Suffolk County Police, the District Attorney's Office, State Police, the Sheriff's Office, and the FBI, which, remember, was a big deal because they were never allowed to participate in the investigation.
It's kind of weird. I just guess I didn't realize the FBI can't overrule a local jurisdiction. You know, I would feel like they would have the authority to be like, no, we are taking this case.
They had to be asked to help because it didn't cross state lines. And so it was all taking place in New York.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess it wasn't, it's not, you know, it's like, oh, well, you're not transporting bodies across state lines, blah, 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 or whatever. That's my guess.
Yeah.
So within about 6 weeks, investigators identified Rex Heuermann as a suspect. And that is insane because it's not because police work cannot move quickly. Obviously, now we know it can, but because the case had been sitting unresolved for so long, and all they needed was like new eyes on it. Yeah. It's like, thank you to those cold case investigators, the people who were like, oh, I just joined the force and they put me on a cold case and like they want to do that. Like, amen. It is so helpful to have a second opinion, to have just another set of eyes.
Right.
It's just so helpful. So first, they revisited the Chevy Avalanche. They looked at vehicle records and found that Rex Heuermann had owned the first generation Avalanche at the time that Amber Costello disappeared. And then they looked where he lived, Massapequa Park. And that mattered because phone data connected to burner phones used in the murders to areas in or near Massapequa Park. And then they looked at where he worked, Midtown Manhattan, and that mattered because the taunting calls, I don't know if you remember this, but the taunting calls to Melissa Bartholomew's sister were from Midtown Manhattan. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
Just off. And he would like say mean shit about Melissa to her sister and like, what a jerk. What a jerk. And then they looked at the phone records. And investigators say burner phones used to contact the victims were moving in patterns that lined up with Heuermann's personal phone and life. So he had the burner phone, but he was still connected to his personal phone.
I'm glad he was kind of a dumbass, though, to be fair. I'm very glad.
Yeah. But the hubris, right? There's no perfect crime. Then they looked at online activity. Searches during that period that police noted included, why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island serial killer? Why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught? Long Island serial killer phone calls, and more. So,
to be fair, that looks a lot like our searches.
Sure, but he's probably like, why the fuck haven't they caught me?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, okay, got it.
Why are they so stupid? Couldn't they
They're
just
so smart?
Couldn't they just track my phone? Like he's he's just how embarrassing. That's embarrassing for the police. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing for the police. And it just pisses me off because like he was just not just allegedly at the time committing those crimes. He was watching the investigation. He was searching the names. He was searching updates. He was searching why he hadn't been caught. He was searching the one thing that was eventually going to just eat him alive about his phone, right? But then there was the DNA. Investigators collected discarded items connected to Heuermann and his family, famously that included DNA from a pizza crust, which is the most New York City way to catch a serial killer. I'm just going to say.
I love it.
Like, of course it was pizza, you know? So you can run from justice for decades, but apparently you cannot run from pizza.
Yeah.
So DNA linked Rex Heuermann to evidence in the case, and prosecutors also said hair believed to belong to his wife was found near some of the victims. Now, to be clear, prosecutors have said his wife and children were out of state during the murders, and they were proven to be out of state. Okay, they were not charged.
Okay,
they were not accused of being involved at all. They have not been accused of that at all. The theory is that the hairs could have transferred from the home, from the family environment, from clothing, from items in the house, or things like that.
I mean, I shed everywhere. So
right.
I get it.
Exactly. It becomes more disturbing when we get to the documentary allegations about the house. Like when you see the house and you see like, holy shit, you know, I mean, it was a small house and you really get the inside view of it. And you're like, man, that is a small house. So you would absolutely get my hair on
right.
My hair would be found if Jason killed somebody in this house, no matter where in this house, my hair would be there, or Olivia's hair. Our hair is just everywhere now. Our poor vacuum. So before we talk more about the house, we're going to talk about the house. Let's talk about the planning document. So the HK planning document. So this part was disturbing because it showed his organization. And when they got a hold of his computer, this is what made it feel different. A lot of people imagine serial killers as a sort of wild, chaotic, out of control monsters, and sometimes they are. But what prosecutors say they found on Heuermann's computer suggests something methodical. It was a Microsoft Word document, a planning document, a blueprint. And remember, this man was an architect. So when I say blueprint, I mean it in the creepiest way possible. So prosecutors called it the HK planning document, the HK 2002-04 document. That's what it was called. It was a forensically recovered Word file that prosecutors used to connect Heuermann to the murders. It had sections like pre-prep, prep, and post-event.
Oh my fucking God, I remember this.
It sounds like something from an event planning checklist, except instead of linens and centerpieces, prosecutors say it was about like locating targets and preparing vehicles, avoiding surveillance, controlling evidence, and disposing of bodies. And as someone who does event planning, I have to say a hard nope. Do not sully my profession.
Yeah.
Right?
But it is really weird for somebody to keep such detailed tracking of that.
I mean,
like to go through that much pre-planning.
So much.
It's just
so much.
It's so disgusting.
It is. But do not bring my world into your murder spreadsheet, sir.
Yeah.
Do not. I do not want to be. Yeah. I do not want to be compared to you. But this was not just planning, according to prosecutors. Like, it wasn't like I got angry and then something happened. This was a process. This was someone thinking ahead. It included reminders about things like checking the weather, surveillance pickup zones, taking steps after the event. It also included notes that investigators tied to the book Mindhunter by John Douglas. So prosecutors believe that Heuermann may have been reading about serial killers and the profiling of them and then taking notes, which is like this strange, arrogant little loop because he's planning murders while reading about how people are profiling murderers, thinking that he can outsmart the profile by doing things that the police may not be ready for.
Did they ever say why his wife was never suspicious, why he never went with them out of town? Like, why did the wife and children just go without him all the time, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well,
I didn't know if there was a reason.
He was the busy one, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this was very New York. And I mean, if you ever watch old movies,
yeah,
right? The husbands stay in New York and the wives go out of town during the summers, or they would, that was very.
Yeah. I was just curious if it was like, and even he was sending them away, or if it was just like they go to visit family every year.
They would go and visit family. Even their wedding, she left.
Oh, wow.
And he met her there later to get married. And while she was gone, he killed somebody.
Wow. What a dick.
It's like he could, every time he was alone, he would always have this like, you go on ahead, I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
And then, or I'm just not going to go. Right. And then that's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just curious.
No. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But he thought he could outsmart everybody, but he can't outsmart technology, bruh.
Yeah.
Right? Can't outsmart everyone. It's all going to come back and bite you in the ass. Everything is detailed. Everything. Burner phone, everything. They're going to figure it out. But, for a long time, he did outsmart everyone. And that's the terrifying part because he wasn't caught in 1993 or in 96 or in 2000 or in 2003 or in 2007 or in 2009 or in 2010. He was arrested in 2023.
And if she hadn't gotten away, who knows? Like if she hadn't ran and all of this started.
Right. Oh my gosh, right. If Shannon Gilbert had not run if she had not called 911, if Mary Gilbert had not forced people to do this, if that policeman who went to go take his dog for a walk and let him pee and happened to find body number 1, you know, like, oh my gosh, we wouldn't be here. Right. And that's why the planning document matters. So, because we need that kind of like, you were for sure guilty, dude.
Yeah.
You know, can't get your ass out of this. But it helps to explain a lot of things, not like that he was a genius. That's like, they needed to see that it was deliberate and the victims were vulnerable, and he knew that the system would fail them terribly because of who they were, and because for too long the women at the center of the case were just treated as like risky lifestyles and not as like human beings who deserved to live and whose lives mattered. They were just sort of like, oh, who cares? Like, they asked for it. Yeah. It's a life they lived. So the update. So April 8th, 2026, Rex Heuermann decides to plead guilty. That's huge. But before he does it in court, before it was made public, he had to tell his wife and child, or his wife and daughter. I don't know that his son was a part of that or not, but his wife especially needed to be told that to her face. He told his daughter first, and then the next day he told Asa. And I don't think she could have believed it had he not told her to her face. I think there was a big part of her was like, no way, because there was nothing about him. But she was such a, she didn't fight him. Yeah. She was very docile. She was very, she did what he wanted. Well, and I'm sure he didn't act like a serial killer, or, you know what I mean? Like, around her. No, but she also was like, you're the man, you're in charge, you're the boss. And that's, you know, and so that's what he liked about her. Yeah. And so he could do whatever he wanted. And that's why he chose her. Yeah. Right? Don't you think? He was a predator. Yeah. He found definitely, he found somebody who would give him a family that he could control and manipulate. Yeah. And because why wouldn't you question, why aren't you leaving town with us? Yeah. Why aren't you leaving town with me right before we get married? Why aren't you the wedding thing would have really just pissed me off. That would have been, I would have been like, what? On vacation, whatever. Just give me some money, let me go. But wedding? Right. There's a lot of things. But she was like, oh, okay. She was never going to question him. Yeah. He never gave her a reason to not believe him. And it's just, that's the way it was, you know? Yeah. So now, he did tell her, and she heard it. And she believed it. But it is a process for her. I'm sure it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, but we'll get into more of that later. So Rex Heuermann after telling his family, Rex Heuermann appears in court in Riverhead, New York. He's 62 years old. He has been facing trial, and instead of going forward with that trial, he decided to plead guilty. And so he pleads guilty to 7 murders he was charged with. Those victims: Sandra Castilla, Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello. But then he admits to killing an 8th woman, Karen Vergata. That is the moment where this case shifts from accused serial killer to confessed serial killer. And I know in casual conversation, people have called him the Gilgo Beach killer for a while, but legally, until this plea, it was the accused Gilgo Beach, right? Yeah. But now he has admitted it. In court, he admitted to strangling victims. He admitted to dumping bodies. He admitted to dismembering 3 of them. The plea means the victims' families do not have to sit through a trial, and that is complicated Because, like, on the one hand, a trial might have given the public and the families some answers and more details. They probably could have gotten more from subpoenas and testimony and all that kind of stuff, more evidence, more answers. But on the other hand, trials are brutal, and they would have had to sit there while their loved ones' final moments were discussed in detail, and they would have had to hear whatever the defense was going to bring and to drag those poor girls' names through the mud because of how they had to survive doing the work that they were doing, like and he would have been enjoying the attention.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucked, right? So this plea gives them some measure of certainty, not peace. I'm not going to say peace. I don't know that there is peace after something like this. I don't know. That's not for me to answer, I guess. But certainty. He did it. He said he did it. Certainty.
Yeah.
And maybe there's peace in that. I don't know. But he was officially sentenced. So sentencing at that point was scheduled for June 17th, which just passed. He was officially sentenced to, on June 17th, to life in prison without the possibility of parole. You'd think that, that's it. That's what he got. But as part of his guilty plea, Heuermann agreed to cooperate with the FBI's behavioral analysis unit to help catch other serial killers. And that part's interesting because it means the FBI wants to study him.
Which is kind of ironic since he studied law and order,
right?
his crimes.
Right. It doesn't happen what changes. It doesn't change what happens, to these women. It just doesn't.
I just feel like it gives him more,
it doesn't change anything for him either. It doesn't excuse that, but...
Yeah, but I feel like it gives him the more attention, which is what he wants.
But only by those FBI. We're not going to hear about it.
Maybe.
Maybe in a book someday, somewhere down the road. If he helps investigators in future cases, maybe we'll hear about it. But is he really going to help anybody? And maybe he does, but later, maybe 10 years from now, he may be dead. And if that's the only useful thing that he has to offer,
right.
You know what I mean? I'll take it. I'll fucking take it because everything, if he catches somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll take it. But if you just sit in a room, answer questions, let experts study the horror show you made of your life, so maybe one day someone else gets the help faster, that's the best case scenario for him. That's the best case scenario for him. But I wanted to pause here and name the women again because, my God, we've talked a lot about him. I've said his name a lot in this episode. Heuermann this, Heuermann that. So, his house, his wife, his job, his truck, his search history, the stupid fucking pizza crust, all of it. It wouldn't be important if it weren't because of his victims, Sandra Costilla, his first victim, Karen Vergata, the one he admitted to after being charged, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, the first victim found, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. These women had families. Some were mothers.
Did the baby have a name?
The one found, I'll get to that. Some were daughters whose mothers fought for them for years. Some were sisters, some were friends. Some spent years without names attached to their remains. Some were reduced in the media to the word escort. And if that explained away the urgency of their murders, that's it. They were an escort. Oh, we don't need to worry about it too much. And I want to be really clear here. Sex work did not kill them. Rex Heuermann killed them. Poverty did not kill them. Vulnerability did not kill them. Bad choices did not kill them. A man did.
Yeah.
And systems that dismissed them helped him to keep going. And that is the part of the story that had made me angry all these years since I learned about it, right? Because serial killers do not just choose victims. They choose the gap in our systems. They choose people they think will not be missed.
And we've talked about it time and time again in many of our episodes. That's who they target, are the sex workers, because people just dismiss it. No one reports them missing.
People, really the media might describe with judgment instead of empathy. The escort, right? The prostitute probably was the word they used back then. People whose families will have to scream just to get basic urgency. And that is exactly what happened here. So their names deserve to be repeated over and over and over again. So there's the documentary, and I mentioned the documentary. There's some, I had a lot of, how dare Peacock pay his family to have access to them, you know, because they were there from the beginning to the guilty plea. They were with her. They were with the family. So it's called the Gilgo Beach Killer House of Secrets. It's on Peacock. And full disclosure, it has caused a lot of discussion and controversy. Can I speak? But it was worth a watch. Yeah. Some people think it's important because it gives insight into his family, not necessarily into his family and what they knew or didn't know. Yeah. Some people think it's exploitative. Some people are very uncomfortable that his family participated and reportedly received money for it. And I understand all of those reactions. This is one of those true crime things where you find yourself asking, is this helping? Is this documenting? Is it profiting? Is it all of the above? And it's probably yes. Like it probably is all of those things. But the update in the documentary to me helped answer some questions that I had about the family, about the house, about how his kids are doing. In the final episode, according to reporting about the documentary, Rex Heuermann's ex-wife, Asa Ellerup, says that after his guilty plea, he told her he killed 7 of the 8 women in the basement of the family home in Massapequa Park. 7 in the basement of the house where his wife and children lived. And apparently he told her he did it while she was away. And I need us to sit with that because this is a whole different level of horror. Truly. Yeah. And it's putting yourself into their shoes. It's so easy to say they must have known, they must have done, you know, but they were not home. And he worked really hard to hide everything. She was not allowed in this part of the basement. The family was not allowed in this area of the house. And so, you know, he was a little bit controlling, a little bit over, you know, so they didn't break the rules. It was a locked up place. And so that's where that was happening, right? It was like a safe, right? It was also disturbing when prosecutors said his wife's hair had been found on or near some of the victims, while also saying she was out of town at the time of the murders. But now, if what Asa says is accurate, the house is just... It was like, I mean, that was their house.
Well, not just that, but it would be in the car. It would be everywhere.
It would be everywhere. But the house is central. The disrepair, the clutter, the basement, the vault, the weapons, the searches, the family's absence, all of it becomes a part of the story. And Asa is now living in the basement.
You're fucking joking me.
They gutted it. They emptied it out. They gutted it. Everything is new. The walls, the doors, the molding, the frames, the everything. There's like nothing that's old in there. She's gutted it. It's painted all white. It's, you know, there's like...
I could not live there. I don't care how new. I mean, much power to her. right?
She hasn't had a job in decades.
Yeah. Like I said, much power to her. But first of all, I'm not going in any fucking basement ever, period, no matter what.
I mean, 100%.
Let alone living in one. So,
well, I mean, so they have the house. So she's moved her bedroom down there. That's where Rex's bedroom used to be. That's when he grew up there. They don't have any income. Right, like he was the breadwinner, and she hasn't had an income for 30 years, and so this is the house that they own. She doesn't have to make any payments on it. This is their home. Who is gonna buy that house?
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
It is not worth anything.
Yeah.
So they have this house. She's like, okay, well, let me make the best of what these kids. They've had to quit school. They've had to, their whole lives is a mess. Because you're never going to outlive it. She's
just much. I couldn't live in a basement.
100%.
Let alone a basement where I know women have been murdered.
So what she has done is to make it nicer for them. She's like, I've tried in my own, in my own way. I'm in my own spiritual way. I am trying to tell them I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that's nice.
So she's got she's got stuffed animals and these little like girly things,
like for their spirits.
For their spirits.
Yeah, well, that's really nice. Like in a non-sarcastic way, that's really nice.
It is really nice. Yeah, but it's hard. It's so hard because as you're watching her. There's from her saying there's no way that this man did it to I am paying homage to these women by living in this space. I will never not deal with this. Yeah. This is my life.
Yeah.
I am going to spend every time I talk to Rex, I want to understand the evil. I want to understand why these women, and she's looking at their pictures. She's got them there. Yeah. She can't run away from it. So she might as well be like, I'm sorry. Let me make this not what you remember. Yeah. So it's bright. There's video games, a place where the kids go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what else is she going to do? Right. So she's got this cute little bedroom all set up, and it looks super girly and cute little things. And she's just like, I'm trying to tell them I'm sorry. I mean, she has nothing to apologize for. Yeah. Maybe not seeing the red flags. I don't know.
Yeah, but how would she, right? Like you said, she was out of town. He covered his tracks. They weren't allowed down. Like, just...
Yes. The manipulation, control, power and control he had over them.
Especially since she didn't have any of her own money. Right. I imagine the control was even more.
It was all him. So, this wasn't some remote cabin. They had plenty of neighbors around. Nobody ever saw anything. So they were paying, he was paying attention. He grew up there. He bought it from his mother. That was a house that had been, like, this guy didn't want change. He wanted this exact, he might have been dreaming about this his whole childhood. This is maybe what he was thinking about his whole childhood.
Did he ever say why he did these things?
Mm-mm. Maybe that's what he's getting. Maybe that's what his wife is getting. And maybe we'll get that later. Oh, right. Gotcha. He hasn't given an interview or anything like that, but you could hear him like, hey, like, oh, hey, the therapist was on the phone, right? Hey, I'm here with your daughter. Oh, hey, honey, how are you? And just to hear him talk to the kids, and she's like, as they're talking, she's like burning sage in the basement. Just like, yeah. Okay, like, yeah, I don't really know. Like, there's the conflict. You are my dad, and I love you. This is not what I know of you. How do I reconcile?
Yeah. How do you separate it?
Those two things. My whole life is a lie. Like, yeah. How do you, even the BTK daughter, right? Like, there's, my gosh, like, that's not the father I know. Right. Right. So it's not just my husband had a secret life. It is my home may have been part of the crimes, and where we were sitting, there was evidence downstairs. You know, like, did he plan vacations around murder? Did he plan the wedding around murder?
Yeah.
Right? Like, did my life create his alibi?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Like, and all the good memories of when you're on vacation, I can't imagine. Just
did my life create his alibi?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's psychological devastation. The trauma, I cannot even imagine. It does not make his family responsible. I want to be fucking clear about that, because there's a difference between asking questions and assigning blame. So as of now, prosecutors have not accused Asa Ellerup or the children of participating in these crimes. But the horror of finding out that someone you lived with, someone you had children with, someone you loved, someone whose laundry you've done, did these horrible, horrible, horrible things. It's just unimaginable. And in the documentary, Rex Heuermann reportedly also claimed those 8 women were his only victims. Now, do I believe him? I mean, I believe he said it.
I believe he had at least 8.
Do I believe it's true? I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm pretty scared. From 1993, right, is when you said he started? Yes.
There's no way.
That's what I'm saying. 17 years. A lifetime. And because the number of unidentified or potentially connected victims around Long Island is still deeply unsettling. So yes, he says there's 8, but investigators may not be done asking questions. So more about the unidentified victims. So because this case is not wrapped up in a neat little bow, first there was Peaches. And she was named that because of the tattoo found on her body. And her partial remains were found in different locations. And DNA showed she was the mother of the unidentified toddler found near Ocean Parkway. But there is an update on her. As of April 23rd of 2025, Nassau County Police announced that they had identified Peaches as Tanya Denise Jackson, who was born October 22nd, 1970. She was a former resident of Mobile, Alabama, and had served in the United States Army from 1993 to 1995, having been previously deployed during the Gulf War. Her daughter, Tatiana Marie Dykes, formerly known as Baby Doe, was born March 17th, 1995 in Texas. So they were both identified. On December 5th, 2025, Andrew Dykes of Tampa, Florida, was arrested for Jackson's murder and awaiting extradition. Dykes, a former United States Army anatomy instructor and Florida State Police trooper, was the father of Tatiana Dykes and married to another woman at the time of the relationship with Jackson, having met while they were stationed at Fort Sam Houston.
How crazy is that he hid the body in the same area that Rex was hiding his body? Do you know what I mean? Like the killing field all over again. It's just crazy to me.
So crazy. He was not charged in the killing of Tatiana, but investigators believe he was responsible for both deaths. Dykes was identified earlier following the identification of Jackson and Tatiana, but was not initially considered a suspect due to his cooperation with authorities.
We all know who did it.
Think about that. Mother and child, heartbreaking. Then there was Asian Doe. Asian Doe was found April of 2011 along Ocean Parkway. Investigators believe this person was between 17 and 23 years old and had been dead for several years. They were biologically male and found wearing women's clothing, so they may have been a trans woman or gender nonconforming. Asian Doe has still not been identified. And this is where language matters, y'all, because if investigators and media only describe this person as Asian male, that may narrow how people think about the case. It may prevent someone from recognizing them if they lived socially as a woman or under a different name. And that matters. So identification is not just science. It's also listening. It's also understanding how people lived, who knew them, what communities they moved through, and what names they may have used. So as of now, Rex Heuermann has admitted to the 8, but there are still the unidentified victims connected to the broader Gilgo Beach discoveries. Now, does that mean he killed them? Not necessarily.
I feel like why admit to the 8 and not the others that have been found? Like, I get not admitting to ones that haven't been found, but
yeah.
I feel like if he didn't admit, he didn't do it, which is
So there's also, and I don't even know if you remember, I mentioned this, there's the other cases people have wondered about, like Andre Isaac. He was known as Sugar Bear. I don't know if you remember me talking about him. He was a drag performer who disappeared in 2002, whose remains were found in different locations. His case has been discussed by people following the Gilgo investigation, though it's not been officially tied to Heuermann. And that's where we kind of have to be careful. It's easy, like, oh, well, it's all on the Gilgo Beach. You know, it's all connected.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is worth re-looking at murders that are similar, because he did dismember people. There were 7 of the 8, 3 of the 7 who he killed in his house were dismembered, right? So there was that aspect of it. And so if there's another person found who was a sex worker who was found dismembered, has a very similar case, it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
And he may not have admitted to that because he didn't want to be like, oh, I found out it was a dude, I thought it was a woman and it was a dude, right? But I will say this. When someone admits to killing 8 women over 17 years, every unsolved case with similarities is worth looking at.
Yeah.
Period. So, no, I don't believe that's all of them.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I don't.
So what happens now? As of this recording, Rex Heuermann has been sentenced to life in prison. That just happened. But as of June 27th, 2 days ago from this recording, there was this update. And this comes from the New York Post, which I know is like kind of tabloid, but it makes me laugh that this is the quote from it. Serial killer Rex Heuermann is finally going to hell.
Amen.
It comes in the form of one of New York State's oldest prisons, a bleak facility isolated in the frigid Adirondack Mountains near the Canadian border. Known as Little Siberia, the infamous Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, opened in 1845 and has warehoused some of the nation's most evil killers. So like Lucky Luciano was there, and some crazy people. I think it was like the East Coast Zodiac killer. I forget.
Yeah.
There were some other people there. Tupac was there once. Oh. Yeah. Crazy. But I keep thinking about how this case started publicly with Shannon Gilbert screaming for help. I'll never forget that 911 call, honestly. A young woman screaming into the phone in the dark saying they were trying to kill her. I'll never forget that. And whether her death was connected to Rex or not, her disappearance forced the world to look where it had not been looking. Because of the search for Shannon, the Gilgo 4 were found. And because the Gilgo 4 were found, the scope of the case widened. And because their families kept pushing, the case stayed alive. Because journalists, advocates, and loved ones refused to let these women become forgotten, the pressure remained. And because a new task force finally looked again at old evidence, Rex Heuermann was identified. And that's the part I want to hold on to. Not him, not his house, not his smug little interviews, not his plan. Do you remember his interview with that dude? Ugh. I would have a hammer. God. The persistence, Mary Gilbert fighting for Shannon, families showing up year after year, people insisting that women in sex work still deserve urgency, scientists developing better DNA tools, investigators willing to reopen what others had mishandled. That is why we know more now, because people kept pushing, and I think that that's important. Because these killers count on silence. They count on shame. They count on stigma. They count on people saying, well, she was an escort, as if that's the end of the sentence. But it's not. The sentence is, she was an escort and she deserved to live. She was struggling and she deserved to live. She was a mother and she deserved to live. She was someone's daughter and she deserved to live.
Yeah.
She was unidentified for years and she deserved her name back. She was vulnerable, and that should have made people protect her more, not less. That's the legacy of this case for me.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a monster. The details are horrific. The timeline is terrifying. But the deeper lesson is about who we choose to see. Because if the only victims who get urgency are the ones society approves of, then predators will always know where to hunt. And that is exactly what happened here. So tonight we remember Sandra Costilla, Karen Vergata, Valerie Mack, Jessica Taylor, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello. And we also remember the unidentified victims still waiting for their names. We remember Asian Doe. And we also remember Tanya Denise Jackson and her daughter Tatiana Marie Dykes, and anyone else whose story may still be hidden in the gaps. Rex Heuermann will spend the rest of his life in prison. But the work of naming, remembering, and learning from this case is not over. And honestly, I don't think it should be. Because this case was never about just one man. It was about what he got away with and who paid the price. And that is my story. Wow. I'm going to drink my wine.
I finished mine halfway through your story. Because, damn. What a piece of shit.
Really? He really thought he was so smart.
They always do, though.
I wonder, though, how much of his wife just begging him for the truth.
Didn't he have a driver? Like, whatever happened with the second man? Wasn't there a second man when she called from the closet?
No, there was the driver, and then there was the John.
Okay, but didn't... Whatever happened to the driver? And
Nothing. Nothing. They interviewed him, and they didn't...
I feel like they should be held
There was,
accountable.
no charges pressed at all. At all.
I was just curious, because I remember she called from the closet originally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were like, get off the phone.
Yeah.
We're like, what? What do you want? You're trying to kill me.
Yeah. Anyways.
And then she was running.
Well, my story next week honors a woman who was monumental in catching and profiling these pieces of shit.
Okay, well, I am so
and
excited.
She gets very little credit because she's a woman. Literally, that's why she got so little credit. But I'm going to be talking about her life, her work, all of that, all of the cases that she helped solve, and what her work is still being used for today. And part of your story is a great segue into it because you talked about Mindhunters. So, anyways,
ooh, I can't wait. Yes,
yeah, so that's gonna be my story next week.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we're back.
Yeah, me too.
And that's not the wine talking because I didn't finish my whole class. So,
yeah.
All right, everybody, we're back. We'll see you next week. Until then, be kind.
If you see something, say something.
We'll see you next week. Bye.